Here we go, 1929 AJ Stevens. He owned the factory before they sold it to AJS. 660cc, 4-cylinder inline, lovely frame, good suspension, hand change on this side if you come round, gear change, 3-speed box, which quite nice, girder forks. I like the back brake very much, quite ingenious. That's where the cable runs right through to the back brake, quite unique. Little oil cooler because it ran a bit hot, so they introduced an extra oil cooler on it. Ignition on here, close the air, bit of retard. All being well, it should start quite easy. There you go, first kick then, how about that then? So we're still on retard. Right, have a listen to that engine. 4-cylinder, beautiful. 1929, so here we go. Lovely bike to ride. There we go, so done a bit of a service on it, so it's all ready for the Banbury Run. So we'll pop into the workshop and see what's happening in here. This one here is Charlie Boardman's Paris Dakar bike, but we'll come back to that next time because that's quite a history, quite a bike. So there we go. Workshop. We'll have a look up here at the Ariel, how it's coming on. Jim's done the engine gearbox and we've done the tank. We've got a new exhaust system for it here. This is from Armour Products, good company. The only thing is they don't do a 350. They only do a 500 HT5 exhaust pipe, which doesn't quite fit. So I think what we will do, we'll get the bike more or less finished, take it down to Armour's and get them to modify the 500 pipe to suit the 350. Jim's still working on the Magneto, still working on the carburetor. We've had the tank all knocked out, all done. That's very unique. That's probably the last 419 trials tire in the world, because they finished, they all went to 18 when Miller joined Ariel, but the original Ariel HT5 had a 19-inch wheel, and lo and behold, a gentleman gave us that tire some years ago, still in the original wrapping. He came from Bristol, forget his name, but he'll be a happy man knowing it's back on an Ariel, the last one in the world. The veteran 1913 Rex that we bought at Bonham's about 3 or 4 months ago. So done the engine, which was in very good condition inside really, and we've got the wheels done. I think we showed you how we kept all the spokes in position, marked the valve spokes. Then when we had the rims replated, repainted, relined, just popped it back on again. Started off with these 2 spokes that we had marked. Easy peasy. That's the easy way to do it. Don't tell anybody else, but that's the way you should do it. So it's not a bad idea to test the mag occasionally. Make sure you're going the right way. Have a look at the spark. We're not going the right way. That's the right way. It goes in reverse that way, right? So then you got to see if you're getting a result here. Got a good spark. Look at that, eh? How about that then? Shit, I got a bit myself there. Right, so that's how you test your mag. A bit of a Miller secret here. I shouldn't really tell you, but I'll tell you anyway, because the purists would be mortified. Have a look here. So, why have I got all the mag mountain bolts surplus and I've got the mag on? Because Miller doesn't like trying to get those bolts started up in there. You need 3 hands, you need a bike upside down, and you end up getting them cross-threaded. So what you do, get your notebook out to make sure you note this down. You get a bit of studding like that, that's 3/8 width. You put studs in the bottom of the mag, and then all you've got to do is put nuts on the bottom of here. If you have a look in here, you've got the studs there. You can just start the nuts easy peasy, rather than trying to get all that lot up under the Magneto. I made up that little extension on there, a nicer run. You see the nice arc there? That's all been remade because the other one was rubbish. This is all the linkage for the 2-speed hub, high and low. All the linkage is through. You may say, how are you going to get over that, Miller? The spark plug's hitting the frame. Yeah, but it isn't, because that is only sitting there. Because the plugs go on the other side into here on the caps that are being plated over it. K-plating, the plugs go in here. What goes in here is little oilers where you can put fuel into the top of the cylinder. The old boys, we never use them, but you can open that up, put a drop of fuel in there, straight into the cylinder for easy starting, but in modern fuels you don't need that. I'll show you something else how that operates. That's it. Bloody disappeared, it hasn't. That's the stirrup for the front brake, and that goes on there, and that's how the brakes operates here. I've relined that. This is the little bit I was looking for here. So what happens here, you put this goes on the petrol tank here, and you can see that lets the fuel down in here, so you can switch that tap on there, little bit of fuel runs there, you open that up, and your drops of fuel go into there, down into the cylinder for starting. But we won't need that because it's a thing of the past, really. So you got your 2 little oilers there. What else is happening? These have all been rebushed, so all nickel plated rebushed, so it's all pretty well up to speed. Big job with the mudguards. So horrendous job with the workshop. So I'll drop the wheel out. That's the wheel out there. Nice job. Stick the wheel there and we'll show you the drama. So this front mudguard, that's the original. It's all beat to death. Really well past it. That goes up in there. So, right, you've got to make a couple of mudguards for it, just like that. So, how do you go about making a set of 1913 Rex mudguards? There ain't much point in going down to Halfords or even going to Auto Jumbles. So you can buy these here, Panama mudguards. Simon does those. Renovation spares, Redditch, great bloke. And he always gives Miller a bit of discount when I'm buying stuff off him. So that's the bare bones of a mudguard, right? So you've got that bit there, right? Then the tricky bit starts getting these side bits on here. So how are you going to go about that then? Right, this is what they call a Jenny. So you get various size wheels on here, so you can put flutes on stuff like that there. So you've got this panel here. Jan's going to do that because getting the other way, Jan. Gently, go on. Go on. Tighten the vise up. Gently, gently. Right, you've got that nice little lip there, right? Okay. just like that. So that's, you see the shape of that. So when we move into here, fitting in there. So that's how that operates there. Then you've got to do another one on that side. And then you end up with this bit here. So that's your front bit made there. So then you tack weld it through the back here. So that's what you do in here. You see how it's welded, brazed actually, because that's better, less heat. So you do that tedious job right round here. So you end up with valances like that. You see I've left a little bit here on that one. That's because when you get that bit of a returned edge like that there when you fit it together, you see. So always make sure you leave a little bit extra, because you can always chop a bit off, but it's more difficult to put something on. So I'll just put this original guard in so you can have a look at it. So there you go there, just like the original. So there you go. Although I've made a bit of a ghoulie. I've made a ghoulie. See those bloody rivets? I've left those rivets high there. So what I'll have to do is put countersink rivets in there so that actually drops over the top of that. So the easiest way to put little countersinks in it. So there we go. I'll drop that out in case it goes for a gutser and destroys the paintwork. So then we go on to the great Mike Hailwood's 7R AJ 1960. When it let him down on the TT, he'd won 3 TTs. He was winning the 4th TT, and on the last lap, the friggin' crank pin broke, and that was it. Anyway, Jim's been right through the engine. As you remember, twin plug head. That's where the other plug pops in here. Have a look in here. That's where the other plug is in here. Coil springs, big ports, bigger induction. We've been right through all the brakes. When you go racing, you got to watch this here. That's if you want to win. Just keep an eye on what happens here. You see, this valve is put the wheel out of balance, right? So if you're flashing down Bray Hill at 150 mile an hour, wheels that are out of balance are not the thing to have, because the whole thing bloody starts shaking and so forth. So what we do, we put weights on the spokes here, or lead inside here, so we get the valve. So opposite the valve, which is here, we'll put lead weights to counteract the heaviness there, so the wheel will spin and stop without any centrifugal force. We'll have to balance both. This here's a bit of a problem here, where this is the original chain guard. So as you see, it's very bloody close here, so I don't know how Miller's gonna, it's hitting here, you see, so I really need it about there to clear the chain, but this boss is out of line here, or the primary guard is off out of line, so better get scratching. See what we're going to do to get that fitted. So these are all, but the bore's all been done, the pistons, everything. These are the mounts for the petrol tank, and that's the mount for the bowl of the carburetor, so it can float, it's not fixed rigid. All right, that's the oil tank. Quite a big capacity, probably getting up towards 3/4 of a gallon, so that pops in here like that. These are the mount holes for it here. But as you see, it's best to put everything in. That's one of the last things to fit. That's the guide for the chain in case it starts thrashing about. This is the chain oiler for the primary chain, because in those days when they were racing, the chains had great difficulty coping with the stresses and strains. Reg Armstrong, Norton's, breaking chains. He was lucky he broke the chain as it went over the finishing line. He still won the race, unbelievable. Miller would have broken a quarter bridge or something and he would have lost everything. So anyway, that pops in here. And there we go. That's the drilled out engine sprocket, which is quite nice. It's nicely splined there. Goes on there nice and neat. You obviously check all the alignment when you're building it to make sure the chains are running in line. So we'll get that grafted on there in here, you see, and that will feed onto the chain. Clip-on bars are all coming on nicely. These scoops, you remember we sorted all those scoops out. Dave made up the cables, JJ cables, all neat and tidy. We've got new throttle cables, new clutch cables, so the whole job. That's the filter for the oil tank. That pops in the bottom of the oil tank. Filter the oil so you get no aluminium bits floating around inside. Anyway, there we go. Another day in paradise. Catch up with you soon again. And we'll crack up the 7R, let you hear 7R AJ running. And happy memories, 1960. So a lot of work, a lot of business, and lots of projects to keep going in the workshop. So we'll see you next time. Cheers.